Hello everyone, Princess Alethea Kontis here, with Princess Tempest, who took forever to get ready for this fairy tale rant, so I am gonna eat my dinner.
She's eating ice cream for dinner. This is something that princesses can do.
Truth. Today we are going to rant about the fairy tale, The Language of Beasts. This is a fairy tale from Andrew Lang's Crimson Fairy book. The Grimm brothers and Hans Christian Andersen and Charles Perrault were not the only people to write fairy tales. Andrew Lang collected many of them in all of his fairy books, and I love the part where he thanks his wife and his daughter for transcribing and writing most of them.
I think that means that actually his wife and daughter did all the work and he took all the credit.
I suspect that may be true. We may never know. The Language of Beasts is one of those fairy tales you kind of love to hate. Let's see. We start out. Once upon a time, there was a shepherd. And the shepherd was watching his flock, and all of a sudden, he noticed a fire, and he heard some screaming. The screaming was a snake, and the snake needed to be saved. So the farmer says, well, I really want to save you, but I don't want you to bite me. And the snake says, look, pick me up and take me to my dad. He's the king of snakes. I promise I'm not going to bite you.
Did he believe that?
He totally did. He took him to the king of snakes. And the snake said, look, my dad is going to offer you like jewels and gold and whatever. But when he says you can have whatever you want, tell him you want to speak the language of all beasts.
Ooh.
It's a pretty good idea. When he offers this wonderful reward to the shepherd said, I would like to speak in the language of beasts. And the snake says, you may do that, but as soon as you tell anyone about this, you will die. Now, first part of my rant, what? How is that? What? No, wait. Have you got the logic flaw yet? He's been talking to beasts the whole time.
I think it's fairly well known that snakes can talk. People language. I mean, they talk to me all the time.
Slytherin. I'm saying. I guess maybe he was just a parcel mouth. Anyway, now the man can speak the language of beasts. So fun things start to happen. This is where I get some of Trix's abilities to talk to the beasts in the Woodcutter series, and Trickster is going to deal with a lot of this. So if you're familiar with this fairy tale, or pretty much most of the Crimson Fairy book, you will have a lot of fun with Trickster when it comes out. The shepherd goes back to his flock and the sheep are walking around and they're like, hey, so what do you think the shepherd would think if he knew there was this giant cache of gold under where I'm sitting?
Oh, beasts.
The shepherd goes to his master and says, hey, I think there's some gold buried on this land. The master uncovers it and says, you were so generous in not taking this all for yourself, you can have all of it.
Beautiful things happen.
That would never happen in real life.
I mean, no. But, all the same, it's fairy tale.
It's a fairy tale. The next thing that happens is the wolves get together. There's a bunch of dogs, and the wolves get together with the dogs and say, hey, if you let us wreak havoc, we will totally kill all the sheep and you can have some of it. There's this old dog with no teeth, and he's super dedicated to his master. He says, no, forget it. I'm not betraying my master. I don't care what you say. And the shepherd hears this. So the next day, the master calls for all of the dogs to be killed except the old dog because he was nice.
Wow, that's hardcore. All right.
Then what happens? Oh, this is the part where you're like, the shepherd now has a wife because he got all this gold, and what do you know? He got a wife to go with it.
As
and
you
so
do.
they're on their horses and they're going wherever the heck they're going. And the horse that's got his wife is like mumbling, grumbling, groaning, complaining. The first horse says, what are you complaining about? Please, you get to carry the master. I gotta carry this wench. She's 3 times as heavy. So the shepherd laughs.
That is just rude on everyone's part.
So the wife says, honey, what you laughing at?
And the shepherd's like, nothing.
No, really, honey, what's funny? What's so funny? This goes on for a while. Finally, the shepherd's like, okay, I will tell you, but I'm gonna lay in this coffin, because as soon as I tell you, I will be dead. The poor dog, the faithful dog, is sitting by the coffin, and there's some, like, food on the ground or something. And this chicken comes to peck at it, and the faithful dog says, how can you eat? The master is about to die. How can you eat? The rooster's like, are you kidding me? I wouldn't let my wife's hen peck me like that. I would take matters in my own hands. Oh. He effectively called the master, the shepherd, a chicken. The shepherd gets up and he's like, eat his ice cream. And he says, you know, I'm not gonna answer your question and die. No. And beats his wife soundly. The end.
The moral of the story is, if your wife asks too many pertinent questions, you should assault her. That's the lesson I'm gleaning from this.
The last line of the story is, and in this way, he taught her never again to ask why he had laughed. It's not even a happily ever after.
It's not. My question is, what exactly is this story meant to impart to the people that are hearing it? Is the message of the story really just, wives, quit asking your husband questions? You don't get to ask questions. If you do ask questions, you'll be beat, and also you will be less in knowing of things than the toothless dog in the corner?
I really don't get this fairy tale, which just stinks because I love so many elements of this fairy tale. I love that he rescues the snake and that he gets the language of beasts, and I love all the little things that happens when he overhears all the animals. I love this, and I want to incorporate those parts. But the whole beating your wife part? Cheers, dude. I'm gonna eat my ice cream to you.
That's not okay. This is why we must refresh fairy tales and retell them and reboot them so that we can take out the stupid parts that were put in by stupid heads.
So thank you for joining me for my ice cream and another one of Princess Alethea and Princess Tempest's fairy tale rants. Hope to see you next week. Love you guys.
Ow.
Yeah!